Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that might just save your own marriage or at least open your eyes. And before we dive in, drop a comment below. What city or state are you watching from right now? We love seeing how far these stories travel. Chicago, Texas, California, wherever you are, let us know. Your support with likes, comments, and super thanks keeps these real-life stories coming. All right, let's get into it. Fridays. For 37 years, Fridays were sacred in our house. Raymond Reynolds, Ray to everyone who knew him, would leave the house at 4:45 p.m. sharp. No matter if it was January snow piling up on the windows or August heat making the Lake Michigan breeze feel like a hairdryer, he'd kiss me on the cheek, grab his leather satchel, the one I bought him for our 20th anniversary, adjust his Bears cap even though he hadn't watched a game in years, and say the same 8 words. Heading to the lodge, sweetheart. Business with the boys. Back late? I never questioned it. Why would I? Ray was the most dependable man I'd ever met. Born and raised on the south side of Chicago, worked 35 years as a union. Electrician for the city. Never missed a shift. Never called in sick unless the flu knocked him flat. He paid the mortgage on our bungalow in Beverly on the 15th of every month. Like clockwork. Our 2 kids, Connor and Brooke, grew up with a dad who coached Little League, grilled ribs on the 4th of July, and cried harder than anyone when Connor tore his ACL senior year of high school. Ray was the rock, the fixer, the guy who said, "Maggie, you worry about the kids and the house. Let me handle the money and the heavy lifting." And I did. I let him. Because that's what partnership looked like, right? We met in 1985 at a White Sox game, him in the bleachers, me spilling beer on his shoes while trying to squeeze past. He laughed it off, bought me a replacement, and by the 7th inning stretch we were sharing peanuts and phone numbers. Married in 87 at St. Barnabas Church, same priest who baptized both our kids. 37 years, no scandals, no big fights, no nights on the couch. We renewed our vows on our 25th in Las Vegas, cheap buffet, Elvis impersonator, the whole cheesy American dream. I thought we were the lucky ones. Every Friday he'd leave. Come home after midnight, smelling faintly of cigar smoke and old style, kiss my forehead while I pretended to be asleep, and slip into bed. Saturdays he'd be quiet. Headache, he'd say. I'd make him pancakes, rub his shoulders, tell him to rest. He always did. By Sunday he was back to normal, mowing the lawn, watching Bears games, planning the next family barbecue. Routine, comfortable, safe. I never looked in his satchel, never checked his phone, never asked who the boys were. Trust was the foundation. He earned it every single day, or so I thought. The last Friday was no different. October 18th, 2025. Cool. Crisp Chicago fall. Leaves crunching underfoot. Kids trick-or-treating early because Halloween fell on a Friday. Ray kissed me longer than usual. Love you, Mags, always have. I laughed. You say that like you're going off to war. He smiled, that crooked smile I fell for 40 years ago. Just the lodge. Back late? He didn't come back. At 11:47 p.m. my phone rang. Connor's name on the screen. I answered, heart already sinking. Mom! You need to get to Rush University Medical Center, now. I drove through red lights, praying the whole way down 95th Street. Connor met me in the ER hallway, face pale, eyes swollen. Brooke was already there, clutching a styrofoam cup of coffee she hadn't touched. Dad had a heart attack at the lodge, Connor whispered. They tried everything. He didn't make it. 64 years old, healthy, walked 3 miles, every morning around the neighborhood. No cigarettes, 1 beer a night. Gone. Just like that. I didn't cry in the hallway. I just stood there numb, while nurses bustled past and monitors beeped in the distance. The kids hugged me. People said the usual things. He was such a good man. He went quick. He's in a better place. I nodded, smiled weakly. Inside, something strange stirred. Not grief, not yet. Something colder. A whisper I'd ignored for decades. Why did he always smell like women's perfume when he came home from the lodge? Why did he sometimes flinch when his phone buzzed late at night? Why did our savings never grow the way they should have, even with both of us working? I pushed it down. Grief would come later, I told myself. Shock, that's all it was. The funeral was packed. St. Barnabas overflowed, Union brothers in their jackets. Neighbors, old White Sox buddies, the kids' friends, even the mailman. Everyone said the same thing. Ray was one of the good ones. Connor gave the eulogy, voice cracking as he talked about Dad teaching him to change a tire. How Dad cried when Brooke got accepted to Loyola. Brooke read Psalm 23. I sat in the front row in black, accepting hugs, nodding thank yous, but the whole time I felt like I was watching a movie about someone else's life. 2 days after the burial, a letter arrived. No stamp, hand-delivered, Union Trust Bank letterhead. Dear Mrs. Margaret Reynolds, we regret to inform you of the passing of Raymond J. Reynolds. Our records indicate you are co-owner of Safety Deposit, Box 2371, at our Michigan Avenue branch. The annual fee is current through December 2026. Please contact us to arrange access at your earliest convenience. Safety Deposit Box? Ray never mentioned a box. In 37 years, not once. I called the bank. The manager was polite. Yes, the box was in both names. Yes, I could access it alone. Friday at 10 a.m. worked? Friday. Of course it was Friday. That night I couldn't sleep. I walked the house like a stranger, opened his closet, smelled his shirts, sat on his side of the bed. Everything looked normal, but nothing felt normal. I knew something was waiting in that box, and I knew deep down it was going to break me. Friday morning, October 31st, 2025, Halloween. I dressed like I was going to a job interview. Navy blazer, white blouse, pearl earrings Ray gave me for our 30th. Armor. I drove downtown to the Michigan Avenue branch, hands shaking on the wheel. The city looked the same. Tourists taking selfies at the Bean, traffic snarling on Lakeshore Drive, but my world already felt cracked. The branch manager, Ms. Elena Carter, met me in the lobby. Mid-50s, kind eyes, professional sympathy. Mrs. Reynolds, my deepest condolences. Your husband was a long-time client. Very respected. Respected. That word again. Everyone respected Ray. She led me to the vault, down the elevator. Rows of metal doors. 2371 was mid-level, not too big. She used her key. I used the one they gave me. The box slid out heavy. She carried it to a private room. Small table, 2 chairs, fluorescent hum. Take all the time you need, she said, and closed the door. I sat there staring at the box for 5 full minutes, heart hammering. Then I opened it. Folders, neatly labeled in Ray's block handwriting. The same handwriting that wrote, Love you. Mags on every anniversary card. First folder, Milwaukee, property and expenses. Inside, deed to a modest ranch house in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Mortgage statements. Utility bills. Paid from an account I'd never seen. Account number ending in 4928. Monthly payments of $1,800 for 15 years. My stomach dropped. Second folder, family support. Photos, dozens of them. A woman, blonde, mid-50s, pretty in a quiet way, smiling at Ray on a porch swing. 2 kids as toddlers, then teenagers, then adults. A boy and a girl. The boy looked like Connor around the eyes. The girl had Brooke's smile. Birth certificates clipped to the back. Ethan James Reynolds, born 1995. Lily Marie Reynolds, born 1998. Father, Raymond J. Reynolds. Mother, Karen L. Novak. Not me, not our kids. I felt the room tilt. These weren't nieces or godchildren. These were his children. With another woman? In Milwaukee. For 30 years he'd been splitting his life, our life, between 2 families. Third folder, finances. Bank statements. Transfers from our joint savings to the Milwaukee account, thousands every year. Credit cards in my name I'd never seen. Limits maxed. Forged signatures that looked just like mine. Total debt, $187,000, all charged to family support, tuition, medical. Our retirement account, supposedly $320,000, was down to 42 hours. Reno, the rest siphoned off slowly, quietly over decades. At the bottom, an envelope. Cream paper, my name in Ray's handwriting. I opened it, 4 pages. Maggie, my love, if you're reading this, I'm gone and you found the box. I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to hurt. I never wanted to lose you. I met Karen in 1988, a job site in Milwaukee. I was lonely on the road, away from you and the kids. 1 mistake became 2. Then she was pregnant. I couldn't abandon her. I couldn't lose you either. So I built 2 lives. I told myself I was protecting both families. I was wrong. The money, I gambled trying to cover the costs. Lost big, then borrowed, then used your name when my credit dried up. I thought I could fix it before you knew. I couldn't. The Fridays weren't the lodge. They were Milwaukee. I drove up, spent the night, drove back. I loved you both, differently, but I loved you more. Forgive me if you can. Tell Connor and Brooke I'm sorry. They were never supposed to know. Ray. I read it twice. Then I sat there until the fluorescent light buzzed like a swarm of bees in my head. 37 years. 2 families, my money, my signature, my life. I left the bank with copies of everything. Miss Carter didn't ask questions. She just said, call if you need anything. Connor was waiting at home. Mom, you okay? I looked at my son, tall, kind, so much like his father, and felt my heart crack open. No, I said, but I'm going to be. I laid the photos and letter on the kitchen table. Sit down. We need to talk about your father. Maggie has just discovered that her late husband, Ray, lived a full double life for 30 years, complete with a second family in Milwaukee, and hundreds of thousands drained from their accounts. Drop your city in the comments. Chicago, Milwaukee, anywhere in the Midwest. I see you. Hit subscribe, like this video, and if this story is hitting close to home, a super thanks means the world. Let's keep going. Connor stared at the photos on the kitchen table like they were evidence from a crime scene. The boy, Ethan, had Ray's jawline. The girl, Lily, had his eyes. Same crooked smile, same dimple in the left cheek. Mom, what is this? His voice was barely above a whisper. I slid the birth certificates across the table. These are your half-siblings. Ethan is 30. Lily is 27. Your father had another family. Every Friday for the last 30 years, he wasn't at any lodge. He was 2 hours north in Milwaukee playing house with them. Connor's face went from pale to red in seconds. He picked up Ray's letter, read it silently, lips moving. When he finished, he slammed it down. He says he loved us more? More? How does that even work, Mom? How do you love one family more while you're paying for another one's college? Brooke arrived 20 minutes later. I'd texted her, come over, emergency, family meeting. She walked in still in her nurse's scrubs from Loyola Hospital, hair in a messy bun, eyes tired from a 12-hour shift. What's wrong? Is it Grandma? I pointed to the table. Sit down, honey. She looked at the photos first, laughed nervously. Who are these people? Dad's cousins or something? Then she saw the birth certificates, the deed to the Milwaukee house, the bank transfers, the forged credit cards in my name. Her laugh died. She sat down hard. No way. Dad wouldn't. Connor handed her the letter. She read it out loud, voice shaking harder with every sentence. When she got to the part about Ray loving me more, she threw it across the room. He loved you more? Then why did he spend our inheritance on them? Why did he forge your signature, Mom? Why did he lie to us every single Friday? Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Brooke started crying. Not loud sobs. Quiet, shoulders-shaking tears. Connor paced the kitchen like a caged animal. I just sat there, numb, watching my kids' world shatter the same way mine had. Then Brooke whispered, I want to meet them. Connor stopped pacing. What? I want to meet them. Ethan and Lily. I want to look them in the eye and ask if they knew about us. If they knew their dad was stealing from his real family to pay for their lives. I reached for her hand. Baby, we don't even know if they knew he was married. Karen might have thought he was divorced or widowed. We don't know what lies he told them. Brooke pulled her hand away. They're not my family. They're homewreckers. All 3 of them. Connor nodded. I'm with Brooke. We confront them. We go to Milwaukee. We demand answers. I shook my head. No, not yet. First, we protect what's left. The house is paid off, thank God, but our savings are gone. Retirement is gutted. My credit is destroyed. We need a lawyer. We need to freeze everything before Karen or those kids try to claim any part of Ray's estate. Brooke's eyes went wide. You think they'll come after Dad's pension? His union death benefit? I don't know what they'll do. But Ray listed me as sole beneficiary on everything I knew about. If he changed anything, we need to find out fast. That night, none of us slept. Connor stayed over, sleeping on the couch like when he was a kid. Brooke took the guest room. At 3 a.m., I heard them in the kitchen whispering. Can't believe he did this to Mom. What if they show up at the house? I keep thinking about all those Fridays he missed my games for them. The next morning, I called a lawyer, recommended by Miss Carter at the bank, specializes in estate fraud and spousal deceit. Her name was Vanessa Ortiz, office in the Loop. She saw me the same day. Sharp, mid-40s, no nonsense. I laid everything on her desk. The box contents, copies of transfers, forged cards, the letter. She didn't flinch. This is textbook bigamy-level financial abuse, Maggie. Even without a legal second marriage, he committed fraud, identity theft, and breach of fiduciary duty. We can challenge any claim the Milwaukee family makes on his estate. We can also go after the banks and credit card companies for failing to verify signatures. How much will it cost? Retainer is $10,000 to start. But if we win against the creditors, and we have a strong case with the confession letter, you'll recover far more. I had $8,200 left in checking. Connor offered to cover the rest from his savings. Take it, Mom. Dad owes you this fight. We hired her. 2 days later, a letter arrived at the house. From Karen Novak in Wauwatosa, handwritten. Dear Mrs. Reynolds, I am deeply sorry for your loss. Ray spoke of you often and with great love. He told me years ago that you had divorced but remained friends for the children's sake. I only learned the truth when the bank contacted me about the safety deposit box. I am heartbroken for you and your family. Ethan and Lily are devastated. They loved their father very much. We do not wish to cause more pain. We will not contest any part of Ray's estate that rightfully belongs to you and your children. The Milwaukee house is in my name alone. Ray helps support us, but we never asked him to take from you. If you ever want to talk, I am here. With sympathy, Karen. Brooke read it and tore it up. Liar, she knew. She had to know. Connor wasn't so sure. Mom, what if she's telling the truth? What if Dad lied to her too? I didn't know what to believe anymore. Then the real bomb dropped. Vanessa called. Maggie, we pulled Ray's full financial history. There's a life insurance policy through the union. $500,000 death benefit. You're listed as 50% primary beneficiary. The other 50% is split between Ethan James Reynolds and Lily Marie Reynolds. He'd changed it 5 years ago. Without my knowledge, $500,000. Half to his secret kids. Brooke screamed when I told her. Literally screamed. They get $250,000 of Dad's money? After everything? No, hell no. Connor was quieter. Dangerous quiet. We fight it. In court if we have to. Vanessa agreed. Illinois law favors spouses in cases of fraud. With the confession letter and proof he hid the second family, we have grounds to invalidate the change. But it'll be ugly. The kids might have to testify. Karen too. I looked at my children, both furious, both heartbroken, and made the hardest decision of my life. We fight for the money, for the truth, for every Friday he stole from us. January 2026, Chicago winter, bitter cold. Gray skies, wind whipping off the lake like a slap. Exactly how my heart felt. Vanessa Ortiz, my lawyer, had filed motions to freeze the life, insurance payout, and challenge the beneficiary change. The union was cooperating. They hated fraud cases tarnishing their reputation. But the insurance company needed statements from everyone. Me, Connor, Brooke, Karen, Ethan, and Lily. Depositions were scheduled in Milwaukee. Neutral territory. I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay in my Beverly bungalow, pretend the other family didn't exist. But Vanessa said my presence would show the judge I wasn't hiding, that I was the wronged party. So on a Friday, of course it was a Friday, we drove up I-94. Me, Connor, Brooke, and Vanessa. 2 cars. 4 hours of silence broken only by the radio and Brooke crying in the back seat. We met in a sterile conference room at a law firm downtown Milwaukee. Brewers' posters on the wall. Smell of fresh coffee. Karen was already there. Blonde hair pulled back, simple sweater, no makeup. She looked tired, older than the photos. When I walked in, she stood, eyes filled with tears. Mrs. Reynolds, Maggie, I am so sorry. I didn't respond, just sat. Ethan and Lily arrived next. Ethan, tall, broad-shouldered, wore a Carhartt jacket like Ray used to. Lily, petite, dark hair, nervous smile. They looked normal, like any Midwestern kids. Ethan spoke first. Voice deep, respectful. Ma'am, we didn't know. I swear on everything. Dad told us his first wife passed away young. That you, Mrs. Reynolds, were her. That Connor and Brooke were our half-siblings from before. We thought the Chicago house was just a rental he kept for work. Lily nodded, tears streaming. He called you Maggie from the old days. Said you'd moved on. We never questioned it. He was our dad. We loved him. Brooke exploded. You loved him? You got half his life. We got the leftovers. Every Friday he chose you over us. Connor put a hand on her arm. Brooke. No, let me finish. You got new bikes, college tuition, family vacations to Door County. We got excuses. Work emergency, union meeting, lies. Karen spoke softly. We didn't take vacations. Ray came up once a week, stayed overnight, left early Saturday. That was it. He missed Ethan's games too. Lily's recitals. He was always rushing back to Chicago. To you. I finally spoke. Voice steady, cold. He forged my signature on credit cards. Drained our retirement. Left me with debt in my name. Did you know about that? Karen shook her head. No, he paid the mortgage here. Gave me cash for groceries. Said the rest was handled. I worked as a dental hygienist. We weren't rich. Ethan added, Dad helped with my student loans. Said it was from an inheritance. I paid him back as soon as I could. The depositions lasted hours. Lawyers asking the same questions 20 ways. By the end, everyone was drained. As we packed up, Lily approached me, hesitant. Mrs. Reynolds, can I show you something? Against my better judgment, I followed her to the hallway. She pulled out her phone, showed me photos. Ray teaching her to ride a bike. Ray at her high school graduation. Ray holding her newborn daughter. My husband, a grandfather I never knew about. He talked about you all the time, she whispered. Said you were the love of his life. That he messed up young and never fixed it. I looked at that photo. Ray beaming at a tiny baby, and felt something crack inside me. Not forgiveness, not yet, but understanding. He'd built two separate worlds, and both were real to him. Back in the car, Brooke was furious. You talked to her? After everything? Connor was quiet. Then, Mom, I think they're telling the truth. They didn't know. I stared out at the Milwaukee skyline fading in the rear view. Knowing or not, they still got half his heart. And now they want half his money, Vanessa called 2 weeks later. Good news. The insurance company is settling. They don't want a public trial exposing how easily Ray changed beneficiaries with no spousal consent. They're paying you the full $500,000. Ethan and Lily get nothing. Brooke cheered. Connor smiled. I felt empty. Money couldn't buy back the years, couldn't erase the lies, but it was a start. Then Karen called, personally. Maggie, the kids and I, we don't want the insurance money. We never expected it. Ray told us it all went to you. We'll sign whatever you need to make it right. I didn't trust my voice. Why? Because it's not ours. And because you've suffered enough. For the first time since opening that box, I cried. Really cried. Spring 2026, the crocuses were pushing up through the soil in my front yard on 107th Street. The ones Ray and I planted the year Brooke started kindergarten. I'd stare at them every morning from the kitchen window, coffee going cold in my hand, wondering how something so pretty could grow right on top of all the pain buried underneath. The house felt too big, too quiet. Connor had his own family in Oak Lawn. Brooke was pulling double shifts at the hospital to avoid coming home. I'd walk from room to room touching things, his recliner still shaped to his body, his White Sox jersey hanging in the closet. The stupid world's best dad mug the kids got him for Father's Day 2010. Everything screamed liar now. Vanessa had cleared my credit completely. All the forged cards gone from my report. The $500,000 insurance payout hit the new account I opened only in my name. For the first time in decades, money was there and it was truly mine. But it felt like blood money, like 37 years of lies converted to dollars. I needed purpose, something bigger than rattling around this house waiting for grief to finish me off. One Tuesday morning, I drove to the Beverly Arts Center for their senior watercolor class, just to get out. The instructor was a retired nurse named Gloria. Loud laugh, purple streak in her gray hair. After class, a woman lingered, packing her brushes slow. Mid-50s, nervous energy. Finally, she looked at me. Are you Maggie Reynolds? The one who found out about her husband after he passed. Word travels fast in Beverly. I nodded. She took a shaky breath. My husband died last year. Car accident. 2 months ago, I found out he'd been keeping an apartment downtown. Another woman. 20 years. She's suing me for half his pension. Says they were common law. Her voice cracked. I saw myself in her eyes. Same shock, same rage, same loneliness. We talked for an hour in the parking lot. I told her about Vanessa, about freezing accounts, about fighting the insurance. She cried. I cried. When we parted, she hugged me hard and whispered, "Thank you for not pretending it's okay." That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about her, about how alone she felt, about how I'd felt. The next week, 3 more women approached me. One at the grocery store on 95th, one at church, one at the nail salon on Western, all with stories. Secret debts, hidden affairs, second families, forged documents, Lives built on lies they only discovered after the funeral. I realized I wasn't the only one. So I did something crazy. I rented the back room at the Beverly Branch Library every first Thursday evening. Put a small notice in the neighborhood Facebook group. Support circle for women rebuilding. After spousal betrayal and financial deception. Coffee provided. No judgment. Just truth. First meeting, 8 chairs. 4 women showed up, including the watercolor lady. We went around the circle. Everyone cried. Everyone spoke. By the end, we were laughing through tears. Because misery really does love company. When it's honest. Second meeting, 12 women. We outgrew the library room. Third meeting, 18. We moved to the community room at Ridge Park Fieldhouse. We called ourselves Phoenix Circle because we were burning, but we weren't going to stay ashes. I didn't plan to lead it. It just happened. Women started asking me questions. How to pull credit reports. How to spot forged signatures. How to talk to lawyers without breaking down. How to tell your kids the ugly truth without destroying their memory of their father. I learned as I taught. I read books on financial abuse, took an online course on credit repair, printed handouts, made resource lists, good lawyers who offer sliding scales, therapists who understand betrayal trauma, websites to freeze your credit. Brooke finally came to one meeting in June. She sat in the back, arms crossed, scrubs still on from work. Didn't speak, just listened. When it ended, she waited until everyone left. "Mom, I didn't know it was this common." "It's more common than any of us ever imagined, honey." She started crying. "I've been so angry at you for being angry at Dad. Like if we just didn't talk about it, he'd still be the hero I need him to be." I held her while she shook. "You're allowed to love him and hate what he did. Both things are true." After that, Brooke came every month. Sometimes she spoke, sometimes she just listened. Connor brought his wife Lisa to one meeting. Lisa hugged me afterward and said, "Thank you for turning your pain into something that helps my mother-in-law heal." That's strength. The insurance money sat mostly untouched. I paid off the small remaining mortgage, just to know no one could ever take the house. Put some in a high-yield savings. Invested conservatively in index funds. Nothing Ray would have touched. Then I did something for me. I enrolled in a part-time interior design course at the Illinois Institute of Art's continuing education program. Always loved decorating, making spaces feel like home. Ray used to tease me for watching HGTV nonstop. Now I was learning how to do it for real. First project, redo my own bedroom. Took down every photo of Ray. Painted the walls soft sage green. New bedding, new curtains, a reading chair by the window. When it was done, I stood in the doorway and realized I'd made a room that was only mine, no ghosts. One Thursday after Phoenix Circle, Gloria, the watercolor instructor, pulled me aside. "You know this group is bigger than Beverly now, right? Women are driving in from Indiana, from the north suburbs. Someone asked if we could start a second location." I laughed. "We're 25 people squeezing into a field house room, Gloria. Then let's make it official. Nonprofit status, a website, real funding." I thought she was joking. She wasn't. By fall 2026, with help from a pro bono lawyer in the group, we incorporated as Phoenix Rising Women's Support Network. Got our 501c3. Opened a simple website. Started a GoFundMe that raised $12,000 in the first month, mostly small donations from women who'd been through it. We added a second circle in Oak Park, then one in Milwaukee. Yes, Milwaukee. A social worker there reached out after hearing about us from Karen. Karen sent an email. "Maggie, I hope this finds you well. Ethan, Lily, and I have been healing in our own way. I started attending Al-Anon. Turns out enabling Ray's lies hurt me too. I heard about your support group. It's beautiful what you're building. If you ever expand to Milwaukee, I'd like to help facilitate. No pressure, just offering. With respect, Karen." I stared at that email for days. Finally replied, "Karen, we are coming to Milwaukee in November. If you're still willing, we'd be honored to have you. Maggie." The first Milwaukee meeting had 30 women. Karen facilitated with me. We didn't hug. We didn't need to. We just nodded at each other across the circle. 2 women who loved the same flawed man, now choosing to help others instead of hate each other. Healing isn't linear. Some nights I still woke up reaching for Ray, forgetting he was gone. Some days I'd see a man in a bear's cap and my chest would tighten. But the circle gave me purpose, and purpose, I learned, is stronger than grief. On what would have been our 38th anniversary, I didn't stay home with a bottle of wine and old photos. I hosted a special Phoenix Circle meeting. 42 women showed up. We ate potluck, tamales, fried chicken, pierogi, macaroni, celebrating survival. I stood up at the end. 1 year ago, I thought my life was over. Today, I know it was just beginning. Thank you for letting me turn my story into our story. They gave me a standing ovation. I cried. They cried. We laughed. I was becoming someone new. And I was finally proud of her. I'd planned to spend it quiet, just me, Connor's family, Brooke, turkey from Jewel Osco, and a Bears game on TV like old times. No big deal. Then the doorbell rang Wednesday night. I opened it to find Lily on my porch, 28 years old, coat buttoned against the Chicago cold, holding a bakery box from Lutz Cafe in Ravenswood, Ray's favorite German pastries. Hi, Mrs. Reynolds. Maggie. I know this is crazy. I can leave if you want. My heart slammed against my ribs. First time seeing her in person since the depositions. I stepped aside. Come in. It's freezing. She handed me the box. Black Forest cake inside. Dad's favorite. I thought, maybe we could share it? We sat at the kitchen table. The same one where I'd laid out the evidence a year ago. She looked around, eyes lingering on family photos still on the walls. Connor's wedding. Brooke's graduation. Vacations to Wisconsin Dells. I used to beg Dad to bring me here, she said quietly. He always said it was too complicated. Now I know why. Silence stretched. Finally I asked, why are you here, Lily? She took a deep breath. Because I have a daughter now, Ella. She's 6 months. And every time I look at her I think, if I died tomorrow, what lies would she uncover? I don't want to be that parent. I want the truth out now while I'm alive to fix it. I nodded slowly. She continued. Mom, Karen, told me not to come. Said it was your choice if you ever wanted contact. But I couldn't wait. I needed to say I'm sorry. Not for existing, but for the pain my existence caused you. For the money Dad took. For the years he wasn't fully here for you or for us. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I loved him. But I hate what he did. To all of us. I felt my own eyes burn. I hate it too. We talked for 3 hours. About Ray, the good parts. Teaching both sets of kids to fish. His terrible dad jokes. How he cried at Hallmark commercials. Then the hard parts. How he compartmentalized. How he justified the lies to himself. Lily pulled out her phone. Showed me photos of Ella. Chubby cheeks. Ray's eyes. She'll know the truth, Lily said. About her grandpa. The hero and the liar, both. Before she left, she asked, would you ever want to meet her? Ella, no pressure. Just someday? I surprised myself. Yes, someday. Thanksgiving Day. Connor and Brooke arrived to find the Black Forest cake on the counter. Brooke's eyes narrowed. Where'd that come from? Lily stopped by. The room went silent. Connor spoke first. And we talked. She's not the enemy, kids. Your dad was. Brooke stared at the cake like it might bite her. I'm not ready. That's okay, I said. You don't have to be. Connor nodded slowly. I think I could be, eventually. Healing looks different for everyone. Christmas 2026. Phoenix Rising hosted our first holiday, gathering for women who couldn't face family questions. 50 women in the Ridge Park gym, potluck, white elephant gift exchange, ugly sweaters. We laughed until we cried. I got a text that night from Lily, photo of Ella in a Santa hat. Caption, Merry Christmas, Grandma Maggie, if that's ever okay to say. I stared at it a long time. Replied, Merry Christmas, Lily, give Ella a kiss from me. Small steps. By early 2027, Phoenix Rising had 4 circles. Beverly, Oak Park, Milwaukee, and a new one in Hammond, Indiana. We hired our first paid staff, a part-time coordinator, got a small grant from a women's foundation, started a private Facebook group with 300 members, sharing resources nationwide. I cut my hair short, dyed it auburn, bought new clothes that weren't from the clearance rack at Kohl's, started dating myself, museums, theater in the Loop, deep dish at Lou Malnati's just because I wanted it. One night after a circle meeting, a new member, 35, fresh out of a divorce after discovering hidden gambling debts, asked me, how did you stop hating him? I thought about it. I didn't stop completely, but I stopped letting the hate drive the car. I took the wheel back. She smiled through tears. I want that. You'll get it, I told her. We all do, one day at a time. And for the first time in years, I believed my own words. We're back, family. We're now in the second half of Maggie's story. If you're new here, please go watch parts 1 through 6 first. This one builds on everything that came before. Drop your city in the comments. Chicago, Milwaukee, Gary, Detroit, Cleveland. The Midwest is showing up strong. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, like the video. And if this series is speaking to you, a super thanks goes a long way. Let's keep going. Summer 2027. Phoenix Rising Women's Support Network wasn't just a monthly circle anymore. It was real. We had 6 locations: Beverly and Oak Park in Chicago, Milwaukee, Hammond, Joliet, and a brand new one in Rockford. Over 400 active members on our private online forum. A full-time executive director, not me. I stayed volunteer board chair so I could keep facilitating the original Beverly group. 2 part-time staff. A small office in a donated space above a bakery on 111th Street that smelled like fresh dough every morning. We'd been featured in the Chicago Tribune, WGN Morning News, and even a segment on Windy City Live. Women were finding us through Google searches like Husband Secret Debt After Death or Financial Abuse Support Chicago. Every time another story ran, attendance spiked. I never set out to be the face of anything, but somehow I became it. One August evening after the Beverly meeting, a reporter from a national women's magazine waited outside the field house. Notebook in hand, kind smile. Maggie Reynolds? I'm doing a piece on hidden financial abuse in long-term marriages. Your nonprofit is making waves. Would you be open to an interview? I almost said no. The thought of my face, Ray's betrayal, our family pain splashed across grocery store racks made my stomach turn. But then I thought about the woman who'd driven 3 hours from Iowa that night just to sit in our circle for the first time. About the dozens of emails I got every week. I think my husband is hiding money. What do I do? I said yes. The article came out in October. Full spread. Big photo of me standing in front of the Phoenix Rising banner. Arms crossed, no smile, but eyes strong. Headline: She lost everything after 37 years of marriage. Then built an empire of healing. Empire. That word made me laugh. We were barely paying rent, but the impact was instant. Donations poured in. A local foundation gave us a $50,000 grant. A law firm offered pro bono hours. We hired a financial literacy instructor to teach free workshops. How to read bank statements, pull your own credit report, spot red flags, open secret-free accounts. We launched a 24-hour text hotline staffed by trained volunteers. First month, 180 messages. Women afraid to talk out loud in their own homes. Brooke quit her hospital job and came on staff full-time as program coordinator. She'd found her calling, helping nurses and healthcare workers who were trapped in controlling marriages with no access to money. Connor started volunteering too. Once a month, he'd come to meetings and speak to the partners or adult, children in a separate breakout room. I'm the son, he'd say. I watched my mom rebuild from nothing. I was angry at my dad for years. If you're mad at yours, that's okay. If you still love him, that's okay too. You don't have to choose. Women cried every time. One Saturday in September, Lily texted, "Would it be okay if Ella and I came to the family picnic fundraiser? Just to support. We can stay in the background." We were hosting our first big public event. Phoenix Family and Friends Picnic at Beverly Park. Food trucks. Bounce house for kids. Live music, silent auction. Goal: raise $20,000 for a permanent office. I stared at the text a long time. Replied, "You're welcome to come. As guests, as supporters. Thank you for asking." They showed up in Bears jerseys. Ella on Lily's hip. Chubby hands waving a little flag. Connor spotted them first. Froze, then walked over. Lily tensed. Connor hugged her. Awkward side hug at first, then full. "Good to see you." Brooke watched from across the park. I saw her wipe her eyes, then walk over too. She didn't hug Lily, but she crouched down to Ella's level. "Hi, cutie. Want a snow cone?" Ella giggled. Brooke took her hand and led her to the truck. Small steps, huge steps. That day we raised $38,000. By winter 2027, we secured a real office, a 2-story storefront on Western Avenue. Ground floor, drop-in center with computers, private phone booths, resource library. Upstairs, meeting rooms and staff offices. Opening day ribbon cutting, mayor's office sent a rep. Local news cameras. Over 100 women showed up, some driving hours. I stood at the podium, microphone shaking in my hand. 2 years ago, I thought my life ended in a bank vault downtown. Today I know it began there. This space isn't mine, it's yours. For every woman who's ever been told, "Don't worry about the money," I'll handle it. For every wife who found out too late that trust without transparency is just blindness. For every daughter watching her mother rebuild, this is your house now. They cheered. I cried. After the ceremony, Karen approached. We hadn't spoken much since the Milwaukee meetings. She handed me an envelope. Inside, a check for $25,000. From the sale of the Wauwatosa house, she said quietly. Ray paid it off years ago. It was never really mine to keep. Please use it for the women who need it most. I couldn't speak. She hugged me. First time? 2 widows. 1 man's lies. Choosing healing over hate. That night I went home, sat in my sage green bedroom, and opened the drawer where I still kept Ray's last anniversary card. I read it one more time. Then I put it in a box in the attic. Not forgotten, just no longer in charge. Spring 2028. Phoenix Rising was no longer just Chicago. We'd trained facilitators in Grand Rapids, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Minneapolis. Launched a national directory online. Support circles in 18 states. Partnered with domestic violence shelters to add financial abuse screening. Then the call came. A producer from a major morning show. Think big network, national audience. Maggie, we want you on the show. Full segment. Your story, the nonprofit, resources for viewers. We'll fly you to New York. I laughed. Me? On national TV? But I said yes. The day of taping. Woke up at 4 a.m. in a midtown hotel. Makeup team, wardrobe, nerves like fire. Host was warm, empathetic. Studio audience full of women holding Phoenix Rising. Signs someone had printed overnight. I told the story. Not all the ugly details, but enough. The Fridays. The vault. The second family. The rage. The rebuilding. Host asked, "How do you forgive?" I answered honestly, "Some days I don't, but I've stopped waiting for forgiveness to set me free." Action did that. Helping others did that. Clip went viral as a Phoenix Rising trended for 2 days. Website crashed from traffic. Donations hit 6 figures in a week. We hired our first national director, opened a Phoenix Rising headquarters in Chicago with satellite training hubs. I stepped back from day to day, stayed board chair, still facilitated the original Beverly Circle once a month. But I needed space to breathe. That summer, I did something selfish and wonderful. I took the trip Ray and I always talked about, but never took. 2 weeks in Italy, alone. Rome, Florence, Tuscany. I ate pasta in little trattorias. Drank wine at sunset, wandered museums until my feet hurt. Took selfies in front of the Colosseum and sent them to Brooke and Connor. Brooke texted back, "Mom, you look happy. Like really happy." I was. Back home, life settled into a new rhythm. Sunday dinners rotated. 1 week Connor's house. 1 week Brooke's new apartment downtown. 1 week mine. Sometimes Lily and Ella joined. Awkward at first. Then normal. Ella called me Gamma Mag. Brooke taught her to bake cookies. Connor pushed her on the swing in my backyard. We never became one big happy family, but we became family, complicated, real. One October evening, the 3rd. Anniversary of finding the box, I hosted a small dinner. Just me, Connor, Brooke, Lily, Ethan, who'd driven down from Milwaukee, and Karen. We grilled steaks in the backyard, drank good wine, told Ray stories, the funny ones, the sweet ones. Nobody cried. Ethan raised his glass. To Dad, flawed as hell, but he gave us each other in the weirdest way possible. We clinked. Later, Karen and I stood at the sink washing dishes. She said quietly, "He'd be proud of you, Maggie. Terrified, but proud." I smiled. He'd be shocked I learned how to invest without him. We laughed. That night I slept better than I had in years. The hate was gone. Not replaced with love. Replaced with peace. And peace was enough. Fall 2028. 4 years since I opened that safety deposit box. Phoenix Rising Women's Support Network, now operated in 28 states. Over 150 monthly circles. A staff of 12. An annual budget in the 7 figures, funded by grants, corporate sponsors, and thousands of small donations from women who whispered, "This was me." We'd published a resource guide. Reclaiming Your Financial Life After Betrayal. Free PDF download, 50,000 copies distributed. Partnered with banks to create second chance checking, accounts for women rebuilding, credit after spousal fraud. Lobbied in Springfield for stronger spousal consent laws on large financial changes passed unanimously. I was invited to speak at conferences, women's shelters, even a TEDx in Chicago. Title, From blind trust to fierce transparency. Standing on that red circle stage, lights hot, audience silent, I said, I spent 37 years believing love meant never having to ask questions. I was wrong. Love without truth is just a beautiful cage. The key to freedom isn't forgiveness alone. It's knowledge. It's agency. It's refusing to stay in the dark. The applause lasted minutes. But the real moments, the ones that mattered, were quieter. One October Friday, yes, a Friday, I drove up to Milwaukee alone. Pulled into the driveway of the little ranch house Karen had sold. Lily lived there now with Ella and her husband. Ella, now 3, ran out the front door in rain boots. "Gamma Mag, you came." I scooped her up. She smelled like crayons and apple juice. Inside, Lily had coffee ready. We sat at the kitchen table, the same one Ray sat at for decades of secret dinners. She slid an envelope across to me. Inside, a flash drive. "What's this?" "Dad's photos." "All of them. The ones from here and the ones from Chicago. I digitized everything, thought maybe you'd want copies of the good parts." I plugged it into my laptop later that night in a hotel room overlooking Lake Michigan. Thousands of pictures. Ray teaching Connor to swing a bat. Ray holding newborn Brooke. Ray and me dancing at our 25th vow renewal in Vegas. Then Ray teaching Ethan to ride a bike. Ray holding newborn Lily. Ray and Karen at a county fair. 2 timelines, 1 man. I cried, not from fresh pain. From release, I printed my favorites, put them in a new album labeled Raymond Reynolds, The Whole Story. No more hiding half. Thanksgiving 2028 was at my house. Connor and his family. Brooke and her new boyfriend, a kind paramedic who adored her. Lily, her husband Ella, Ethan and his girlfriend, Karen. 14 people around my extended dining table. We went around saying what we were thankful for. Connor, my mom's strength. Brooke, second chances. Lily, blended isn't broken. Karen, truth, even when it hurts. Ella, turkey and Gamma Mag's cookies. When it got to me, I looked at every face, some bound by blood, some by betrayal, all by choice now. "I'm thankful," I said, "that ashes don't have to stay ashes." We ate, laughed. Ella fell asleep on my lap during football. Later, Brooke helped with dishes. "Mom," she said quietly, "I used to hate that you forgave him enough to move on. Now I get it. You didn't forgive him for him. You did it for you." I hugged her. "And for you, kids. So you don't carry hate your whole lives." She nodded against my shoulder. That Christmas, Phoenix Rising launched our biggest initiative yet. The Ray and Maggie Reynolds Transparency Scholarship. 10 full-ride scholarships for women over 40 going back to school for finance, accounting, or business degrees. Named after both of us. Because even in his worst, Ray taught me what not to do. And in my best, I turned it into a legacy of empowerment. The first recipients, 10 incredible women from our circles. One was the watercolor lady from that very first parking lot talk. Graduation day 2032. I was there for everyone. January 2029. 5 years since Ray died. I turned 67 in December. Threw myself a party at the Phoenix Rising headquarters. 100 people, live band, deep dish pizza and champagne. I danced, really danced, with Connor, with Brooke, with Ella on my hip, with women from the circle who'd become sisters. No tears, just joy. People ask me all the time, "Do you miss him?" Honest answer, sometimes. I miss the man I thought he was. The partner on Sunday mornings reading the paper. The father laughing at the kids' jokes. The husband who held my hand through tough times. I don't miss the lies. I don't miss the secrets. I don't miss blind trust. Today, I live in the same Beverly bungalow. But it's mine now, painted fresh. Garden redesigned. Office in the spare room where I write emails, plan events, mentor new facilitators. My bedroom is still sage green. Reading chair by the window. On the nightstand, the album of Ray's whole story. Open to a page with 2 photos side by side. Connor's Little League. Championship and Ethan's, both with Ray's proud grin. I look at it sometimes, smile, close it. I date occasionally, nothing serious yet, but I'm open. When someone asks about money early, bank accounts, credit scores, retirement plans, I don't flinch. I say, let's talk about it, all of it, transparency from day one. Some men run. The right one won't. Phoenix Rising is self-sustaining now. I stepped down as board chair last year. New leadership, younger, fierce, diverse. I'm founder emerita. Still show up to the original Beverly Circle first Thursday of every month. Still facilitate. Still listen. still believe every woman deserves to know exactly where she stands. On the 5th anniversary of opening the box, October 31st, 2030, I went back to the bank on Michigan Avenue. Same branch, same vault. Ms. Elena Carter had retired, but the new manager recognized me. Ms. Reynolds now, right? An honor. I smiled. I'd like to open a new safety deposit box. Small one. She didn't ask why. Inside, I placed 3 things. 1. A copy of the Ray and Maggie Reynolds Transparency Scholarship announcement. 2. A photo of all of us at last Thanksgiving. 2 families, 1 table. 3. A letter, in my handwriting. To whoever finds this years from now. My husband kept secrets here that nearly destroyed me. I kept truth here that saved me. Choose truth? Always choose truth. Love isn't blind. It's wide-eyed, clear-seeing, and brave. Maggie Reynolds, formerly Reynolds, now just Maggie. I closed the box, walked out into the crisp Chicago fall air, headed home, to the life I built from the rubble. Stronger, wiser, free. And if you're watching this, if you're in the dark right now, if something feels off, if he says don't worry about the money, if Fridays or any day don't add up, trust that feeling. Ask the questions. Demand the statements. Pull your own credit. Open your own accounts. You are not paranoid. You are not controlling. You are protecting the life you've built. And if the worst happens, if you open your own box and find betrayal, you are not alone. You are a phoenix. You will rise. I did. So many of us have. And you will too. That's the end of my story. But it's the beginning of yours. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for being part of this community. Now go live in the light. All my love, Maggie. One journey from devastation to triumph. If this story touched you, saved you, or helped you see your own strength, comment below. Tell me your city. Tell me your truth. Like this video 1,000 times. Subscribe. Share it with every woman who needs it. Super thanks if you can. They help bring more stories like this. I love you all. Stay strong. Stay transparent. Stay free. See you in the next story.